This video is for all my controller players out there, and we're going to be going over what is the best aim assist setting that's currently in the game at the moment. We've got a couple to choose from, and a lot of people are saying the Black Ops option is the best, but actually is it? So what people are actually talking about here is this aim assist setting right here. So if you go to the advanced tab on the controller settings, you get these 4 aim assist options. So you've got default, precision, focusing, and Black Ops, and everyone's saying that the Black Ops version is the best. So the first setting we're actually going to test is the default one. If you do enjoy this style of content, by the way, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k. So when it comes to the default aim assist type, this is what we're going to test here. So as we gradually get closer to the target, you can see it gets stickier and stickier. So I'm not changing the rate of how fast I'm moving. Everything that's happening here is to do with the aim assist. I'm gradually just moving at the same constant speed like this. So if there was no aim assist in between that, this is how it would look. But as we get closer to our target, as you can see, it's slowing down. Now the rate of slowness is the same, and I want to kind of keep an emphasis on that rate of slowness because this is going to affect some of the other aim assist amounts as well when we actually take a look at them. But with this one, the rate of aim assist is very much the same, and as you can see, the stickiness kind of starts at this point right here. This is where it starts to get quite sticky. I move my analog stick quite a bit here. If I do that over here, you can see it moves freely. If I do it here, it starts to stick quite a bit. And then obviously when you're on the target, it's the same amount of stickiness as these kind of edges. Another thing I want to point out is rotational aim assist, and this is kind of hard to test in the firing range, to be honest, and without another player available. But what that's about is when you're hip firing, if you're moving left and right on your left analog stick, so not your aiming stick, the moving stick, you do get a bit of sticky aim assist on your target as well when you're moving left and right. And as you can see, it kind of does stay for the most part on target. Obviously this will be because I'm centered on the target, but as you can see, when I'm doing this now, you can see it still slows down closer to the target as well. So you do get a bit of sticky aim assist. So the next one I'm going to test here is precision, and the way they describe this is strong aim slowdown that only kicks in when aiming closer to a target. And this is one that I find a bit interesting actually, but the way this one actually works here is basically the best way I can describe this to you is that it gets stickier and stickier the closer you get to your target. So essentially we're moving at the same rate here, and it's not too sticky because as you can see up till this point, it kind of moved relatively quick right here. So as you can see, we'll do that again. So you do feel a bit of aim assist, but it doesn't get sticky until about this point right here, which is very close to the target. But when you get close to the target, it gets even stickier and stickier on the target as well. So you can't move at this point. Now at this point, you can move a bit more. This point, you can move a bit more. And the box of aim assist is a lot smaller with this one. So as you get closer and closer to your target, it gets more stickier and stickier until you actually reach the target, and then it's super sticky. So that is the best way I can describe this one. Then this one's going to be really handy if you like snapping between targets. It's going to mean that you're not like super slow at this point where you want to hit the next target. Is actually quite snappy between the enemies here, and then it slows down only when you get to that point. Again, with the rotational aim assist thing, it actually doesn't feel as strong with this one. As you can see, I'm only moving the left stick and it doesn't really stay on target as much as the last one. Now, obviously, this is not a perfect test compared to the aim down sight test, but like I said, it's nowhere near as sticky as the default. So the next one is focusing, and the way to describe this one here is strong aim slowdown that also kicks in when narrowly missing a target, best for players new to analog gaming. Now the way focusing works, in my opinion, and the best way to describe this once again, is that, for example, if I show you this bit, I'm going to move at the same constant rate. You'll see it starts slowing down a bit from this range to this range, and then it starts slowing down even further when you get closer to the target. So there's a small range here that it does still have aim assist in this kind of distance right here, but it doesn't have the strongest aim assist within this range, right? So it's not going to be super sticky. But then when you get to closer to the target, it's going to be super sticky, and that's how it works. Now obviously, again, you feel the aim assist kick in round about here, as you can see, but then when you get closer to the target, it starts getting even stickier. So like I was trying to show you here, I'm moving the analog stick around quite a lot here, and you can see it moves quite a bit. Here, it moves not as much as before, and then when you get closer to the target, it's moving barely any at all. So there's pretty much like 2 boxes of aim assist in this area. Now let's check out the rotational aim assist and see how that feels, and again is nowhere near as good as the default option in my opinion. Even when you're trying to move the right analog stick when you're hip firing, it just doesn't feel as good at this distance, and like I said, this is not a perfect test. The last and final option is Black Ops, and this says traditional aim slowdown near target used in Black Ops games. So Black Ops aim essentially, is that what they're saying here? So let's test this one as well. So we'll do the gradual test here. So as you get close to the target, it slows down. So this one is pretty much the same as default for the most part. I don't really see very much difference. The only thing I can think here is that the box itself, which it kind of looks like, is slightly bigger. So I feel the aim assist about this distance here. This is where I feel it kicking in. And on this side, I could feel it kicking in maybe round about here. This is where I feel it kicking in. So I think the box on the Black Ops one is just bigger, but when you look at the rate of slowdown, is exactly the same rate. So very similar to the default option, but the box overall is larger. Now, the box being larger isn't necessarily always a good thing, because like I said, snapping between targets, if you like doing that quite a lot, which I personally prefer, then you'd want to have a smaller hitbox or a smaller aim assist box. So what I'm going to show you next on screen is the actual hitboxes that I've noticed with these aim assist slowdowns. Now, where I've noticed it with default is actually very close to the target. And as you can see here, I do think this is a very solid option for people who like snapping between targets and keeping it pretty much on point. The gradual slowdown does start probably a little bit outside the box that I've shown you here, but for the most part, this is where you will notice most of the aim assist kick in when it comes to the default option. But as you can see, the aim assist box is quite narrow for the most part and close to your player character. Or now, precision is the one that gets stickier and stickier as you get closer to the target. So this is the box where the precision aim assist is the stickiest. So within this box that you see on screen just now, obviously the box itself is actually larger, but the amount of stickiness that you will feel is going to be much greater than the default option or even the Black Ops option. That has had the same rate of slowdown, whereas this one is going to slow down even further when you get inside this box. Next up, we have the focusing aim assist type, and you can see two of the boxes. The orange box shows where you get the weaker rate of slowdown, and then the red box indicates where you get the stronger rate of slowdown when it comes to this aim assist type. Now, this is the one that I don't recommend at all, just because of the fact that it is not really consistent when it comes to the slowness or the rate of slowness. And that is why I wouldn't really recommend this one at all, to be perfectly honest with you. Lastly, we have the Black Ops option, and as we expected, this one is basically a larger box, which is what we kind of thought when we were basically in the firing range. Now, the aim rate of slowness is very similar to the default option, so it doesn't slow down or speed up. The rate of slowdown is exactly the same and very consistent. So this is how I would actually recommend each one of these aim assist types. When it comes to default, I think most players would like to play on default. The reason why is because the hitbox is a little bit slower, easier to snap between targets, but overall you do still get that good slowdown and the rotational aim assist. When it comes to precision, it's a kind of a weird one, but some people might actually prefer being slower and slower as they get closer and closer to a target. I think this is going to be quite good when it comes to using assault rifles and things like that, but if you're using a sniper, this is probably not something you'd want. So just keep that in mind. Some people might enjoy precision, but I don't think it's going to be the most popular option. Focusing is something that I would just recommend not using at all. I don't think it's a good option whatsoever. And then when it comes to Black Ops, I think beginners should be using Black Ops and then maybe moving on to default. But if you do like the feel of Black Ops overall, then I do still think it's a solid option. Both Black Ops and default are very similar anyway. Like I said, the box is just larger. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.